All right, the stock market is reaching new highs. Unemployment is at historic lows. Now's the time to take the steps to thrive in this economy. So JB Bryan is here. We just had music from the 30s. I'm thinking with what you're talking about, is this the new roaring 20s that we're going into? Because
I'm glad
things
that
are hot.
You're so right. Everything as far as the numbers, the federal government is completely satisfied with inflation, with the jobs number. Unemployment is at historic lows. But I had an interesting conversation with a young man in his 70s, and he said, my portfolio is not doing as well as the stock market. And I explained to him that your portfolio probably is not just the stock market. So there's a lot when we do the economic update and you say, oh, the stock market is doing well. Bill, who has 100% of their portfolio in the S&P 500 or in the Dow Jones?
No, you diversified, which is what we were told to do.
That's right. So when you're diversified, you're not going to experience exactly what the stock market is doing. Thankfully, especially during bad times, right? But when you see, so I want everyone at home to realize that when you do an economic update like we're doing, or when you get all of this great economic information, it's important for you to think about, how does this apply to me? How do I benefit from this? Well, it is important to have a portion of your portfolio in the stock market at all times. It's important to actively manage your investments, meaning be involved with your investments, and know that it is important to be diversified across the asset classes.
Right, I got questions. I got lots of questions. All right, so you're saying you got to know all these different things,
That's
and of course you do, but some of us who are of a certain age have lived through when inflation was through the roof.
That's
we lived through the Great Recession. I'm thinking millennials who, that was their formative years, was like the bottom fell out. So,
how do we benefit?
All of that history's back there saying, be cautious, be careful, be conservative, don't go crazy.
That's right.
And now you're saying, let's go.
But it is amazing that people will go back to the same bad habit that didn't work for them. So that I wish that most people were cautious, but what happens is most people go right back to that behavior of going into unnecessary debt. And when we're in great low interest rate times, the interest rates are low, this is the time to pay off debt. And and there is expectation that interest rates will begin to rise again, possibly in 2021. So if that means that if you have debt, maybe it's time to refinance into these low rates, lock it in for the long term, get out of debt. Because one thing we know, Bill, what?
It's going to change. Yeah, it's going to change. That's the constant.
So prepare for it.
All right, so one of the key things is get rid of whatever debt we can and as much as we can.
Save more.
Save more because emergencies will come.
That's right.
It's not, if we use the Roaring 20s as an example, in the 1920s, they led to the 30s and the crash and the Great Depression.
But think about this, Bill. I have, as a small business owner, I have seen technology take jobs. I have been able to use computers to do things where I used to have 2 or 3 people do. Now you can have one person working that, so you can cut your staff almost in half and use technology more. That is important for people at home to realize that jobs are changing. The majority of the jobs that are moving forward are in healthcare. About 18 out of 30 of the new careers coming out are going to be healthcare related because of the aging environment.
Baby boomers,
But the other jobs are going to be more in technology. Get the training that you need to move into the areas that are going e-commerce type positions versus more retail jobs. The typical sales jobs are being cut back. Production jobs are being cut back. These are the things that are being replaced by computers. So be aware of that. Get the proper training. Look at the economy for what it means to you. So this economic report is something like none other that we see. It's about what you need to do to take advantage of the economy.
Well, and one of the things you have on there is invest more and spend less.
Spend a lot less and take advantage of.
But times are great, JB.
I know, right? And they are. So, in your income for most people, unfortunately, is not a lot higher than it was 10 years ago. and the minimum wage is still a problem for a lot of people. So even though they say we have these great low unemployment numbers, not most, but a lot of people are underemployed.
Not included in
They're
the big
not
bang.
making. They haven't made as much as they were making 10 years ago yet. So spend less, save more, invest for your future. Know that there may be a time that you're not going to want to work, so save for your future by purchasing assets that can create income for you down the road.
All right, great news. Thank you, Joanne. Always good information.
Thank
Very
you.
good tips from J.B. Bryan. J.B. offers free weekly money seminars and webinars every Wednesday and Sunday. You'll find a link for more information at WTVR.com/VTM. Now, before we head to break, let's send it back over to the kitchen where they've stopped dancing and started cooking.